The Avengers assemble in Jurassic World Evolution. Honestly, it's only a matter of time until Disney owns every single thing on the planet, and we'll see a Rexy versus the Incredible Hulk at some point. But for now, this is the ultimate crossover of the Marvel MCU and the Jurassic franchise. Hello everyone, and welcome to Avengers Park. I've teased this park a long time ago, and I do apologize for that, but Marvel kept pushing back the release date for Black Widow, and now WandaVision, and frankly, I've become as impatient as you are to get this video out, so here it finally is. If you like this park, leave a like on the video, and if you want to see more builds like this, check out the channel and hit the subscribe so you don't miss out on all of the future projects. The dinosaurs in this park are chosen to represent the Avengers from the MCU, and the exhibits are made as a bit of a nod to the movies. We'll go through it all during today's tour and of course meet all of the Avengers. Some dinosaur choices I'm quite proud of, even if only because it's a bad pun, because you know how much I love a bad pun, they're irresistible. But I can honestly say that I did give it a lot of thought, and in the end I'm pretty happy with the dinosaur representatives that are in this park. Comment down below if you can guess which Avenger this dinosaur is supposed to be. Go ahead, scroll down, leave a comment, I'll wait. And you'll see further along in the tour if you guessed it right, if we are sort of on the same wavelength. Now, which characters are official Avengers in the MCU? You could kinda debate. Some would say every superhero that appears in the Avengers movies is an Avenger by design, but others maintain that only the core characters are Avengers. Personally, I pretty much included almost everyone. So how this park is set up is obviously with the Avengers logo at the center and the exhibits surrounding it, with one giant tour going through in the right order of the movies being released. There are 13 exhibits in total, which is, of course, not as many movies as there are in the MCU, but what I decided to do was include every movie that introduced an Avenger and make that an exhibit with all of the Avengers from that movie. So for example, there is no exhibit for Spider-Man Homecoming because Spider-Man was originally introduced in the MCU in Captain America Civil War. I'm hopeful it'll make sense as we go through this park, and speaking of that, let's get right to it. Here we are with the first dinosaur on our tour and the first Avenger that the entire MCU was built on. We have Iron Man. There you go, and I've made Iron Man a T-Rex exactly for this reason, because he has a big mouth and he is loud. That is why I went with the T-Rex. Obviously, a raptor was also in the running because they're the clever ones in the Jurassic World franchise, but honestly, then we wouldn't have had a T-Rex in this park at all, and you can't have a Jurassic World park without a T-Rex. He's quite mad about it. And he lives in a desert exhibit, which is sort of a nod to the first movie, which is from 2010. That's kind of insane to think about. 10 years ago, Iron Man was kidnapped, taken to a cave in the desert, and that's where he became Iron Man. So I felt that that was a fitting exhibit for this dinosaur, for this Avenger. The next Avenger, surprisingly, is the Incredible Hulk, which is of course the chunkiest of all the dinosaurs, the Acrocanthosaurus. I'll show you the names right there. So this is Hulk. Hulky boy. Yeah, I had to Google this one because I didn't know that. Oh boy, Hulk just went a little mental over there. The Hulk is not amused. Oh, the Hulk is gonna take a nap, even though he's always angry. He's gonna take a nap. He's gonna angrily take a nap. I had no idea the Incredible Hulk was the second movie in the MCU. At that point, you know, it wasn't really a cinematic universe yet, of course. And the Hulk was still played by Edward Norton. The exhibit that he lives in is pretty much just the science center, and that is supposed to represent the lab in which the Hulk was created. Inadvertently. In the next exhibit, we have Iron Man once more. This is the exhibit for Iron Man 2, but what we're really here for is, of course, Black Widow. Black Widow was introduced in the second Iron Man movie, so she's been in the franchise for a very long time, and she's pissed about it that her finally her solo movie has been pushed back to 2021. Was supposed to come out this year in May, and that was when this park was supposed to initially come out on my channel. But you know, the universe dealt us all a bit of a weird hand this year. But here she is, Black Widow, and this exhibit, it just has what is like supposed to be a boxing ring. That's honestly the only thing I remember from Iron Man 2. That Black Widow and Iron Man as Tony Stark and Natasha Romanoff get in the boxing ring, and they have a little bit of a tussle with each other. In this exhibit, in this desert town, we have walking about Thor. Thor is the rainforest Giganotosaurus, and why did I choose this guy for Thor? Basically, all it has to do with the fact that this skin, you know, the silver stripes sort of look like thunderbolts, so that is why I chose the Giganotosaurus. Where he walks around is in the little town where he ends up spending a lot of the movie. I didn't want to replicate Asgard. I figured this would be more suited for the buildings we have available in the game instead of Asgard. So he's in his little desert town. Now, what you might have also seen scurrying about in the background, I did get a glimpse of him. I can't find him now. Also, during the movie, you barely get more than a glimpse of him. There he is. Hawkeye is sneakily introduced in the first Thor movie. He has like a teeny tiny cameo part. Not even sure if they even use his name, but this is technically his introduction in the MCU. I went with Troodon because he has those big eyes, good for looking down from his perch, so that's why he became Hawkeye. The next movie in the MCU actually takes us back in time to the Second World War, and it takes us to a military base, which is sort of what this exhibit is based on. I've just placed a lot of bunkers, and what I also added was this little post over here. During the movie, he has to climb up the post and get the flag. We all know that Captain America finds a better way around that as the, at that point, still scrawny and short Steve Rogers. Now, Steve Rogers isn't scrawny or short anymore. He was modified to be bigger and stronger, which is why I went with one of the hybrids in Jurassic World Evolution, the Spinoraptor. And the idea behind it is that as a normal human being, he would have been just a regular old raptor, but he has been transformed into a bigger, stronger badass, literally bulkier, bigger. Also, I love the Spinoraptor, and I felt like it was a pretty cool choice for Captain America. Captain America is also a very smart cookie. He is the strategist, or the battle strategist of the Avengers. So a dinosaur that has a little bit of Velociraptor in it felt like an appropriate choice. He's not doing much though. He does a lot more in the MCU than just stand around and twiddle his claws. And once all of the Avengers are introduced, the MCU takes us to the first Avengers movie. So this is New York, New York. And we have a sleeping Iron Man. We have a Hulk.
We have a Hulk.
I really don't have to go by all of them. We've already met the dinosaurs in this exhibit. We have Hawkeye, Captain America, of course. And Black Widow is hiding somewhere as well. Oh, is that her? That's her. There she goes. She's gonna have a snack before battle. And then the next movie that we get into is Captain America Winter Soldier. And of course, we pass him by on his left. In the aviary over here is the Falcon flying around. I don't know if you can see him. We might as well visit him. Here you go. This is Falcon. I felt like the Pteranodon was the only logical choice. I struggled a lot with it because it meant that I had to bring in the aviary for every single exhibit that represents a movie that the Falcon is in. But I couldn't make myself pick any other creature to represent the Falcon, the flyer, in the Avengers. On your left, Falcon, on your left. The Thor goes through over here, and of course we have Captain America over here. This is sort of like a nod to the Infinity Pool, where they jog around at the start of the movie when Captain America and Falcon meet. And also in here is Black Widow somewhere, and what I also did in this exhibit, oh, there's Black Widow, she's on the highway, because that's one of the other memorable points in this movie, is the battle on the highway, the car chase, and the ensuing carnage when Steve Rogers is finally reunited with Bucky, although Bucky has no idea who he is. The next movie and the next exhibit we come into is this alien-esque landscape, and this is modeled after the opening scene of Guardians of the Galaxy when we see Peter Quill, aka Star-Lord, dancing around as he is on the hunt for one of the Infinity Stones, albeit unknowingly. Now, lumbering into frame over here is one of the first dinosaurs that we're going to meet, and this beautiful Brachiosaurus is Groot. I felt like this was an appropriate choice. We all know Groot is essentially a tree. We all know Brachiosaurus' love affair with trees. I felt like this was a pretty good choice. Also, you know, he's big, he's strong, he's tall. I felt like the Brachiosaurus was the only way to go, even though, you know, most of the other dinosaurs are carnivores. But Brachiosaurus is literally unbeatable except by one dinosaur, which is also in this exhibit, and that is Drax. I chose Drax as a Indominus Rex. You know, they're both pale, they're both bulky, big arms, and the texture also kind of reminded me of the pattern on Drax's skin, so that's why I went with just the regular Indominus Rex for Drax. Over here, hissing angrily at Groot, is Gamora, our beautiful green Herrerasaurus. I needed a green dinosaur to represent Gamora, and I felt like this was the best choice for her. I also just really love the Herrerasaurus, so any excuse to bring a Herrera into one of my parks is good enough for me. Look at them drinking together. Honestly, they are such a team already. And this little cutie is Rocket Raccoon. He is unfortunately a herbivore, but I just felt like it needed something cute. But let's not forget that the Homalocephali actually does pack a bit of a punch. You know, it is a Pachycephalosaurid at the end of the day. I love that Rocket is just, he's such a cute little thing, but he has a foul mouth on him, and he has a big attitude, and I love that. And I felt like Homalocephali represented that the best. This is Star-Lord, real name Peter Quill, and I made him the male Velociraptor from 2001 from JP3, literally only because he has quills. You get it? Do you get it? Okay, I think we can move on. The next movie that we come into in our tour and in the MCU is the second Avengers movie, Avengers Age of Ultron. What I went with for this exhibit was the like the breaking off of Sokovia. You know, it got launched into space. Well, nearly did at least. So that's kind of what I went with, like a broken apart city. That's why I left all of these cracks in the pavement. And, you know, let's just pretend that this is gonna get torn away and it's gonna fly up. And of course the Avengers are here to save the day. We have Iron Man, here's Captain America. Well, basically every dinosaur that we already met is here. Obviously Falcon is right there. We have the Hulk over here. But we also have some new players. And I'm gonna hop into map view real quick just to cheat and to find them. Over here, running about Sokovia, feeling a little bit nervous, a little bit apprehensive about joining in the battle, is Scarlet Witch, and she's represented by the red basic Deinonychus. I felt like this was the best choice for her simply because of the color. Small carnivore, I felt like it was a good choice for her. Perhaps it is a little bit odd, but her twin brother is a Carnotaurus. This is Quicksilver. It's debatable whether Quicksilver qualifies as an Avenger, but I had an idea of making him an Alpine Carnotaurus, because he's silvery in color, and also Carnotaurus is generally regarded as a fast dinosaur. We know from the Isle that it's the fastest dinosaur in the Isle, so that's why I went with the Carnotaurus for this one. This will sadly be the only appearance. Don't snap at your sister. This will be the only appearance of Quicksilver. Because, you know, spoiler alert for a years old movie, he dies. And the final new introduction in this movie, in Avengers Age of Ultron, is of course Vision. I went with a Proceratosaurus only because I was quickly running out of dinosaurs. I couldn't think of anything better. And the skin color of this step Proceratosaurus does resemble the skin color that Vision is originally created with. Really, really wish so badly that the crest on this Proceratosaurus in particular was yellow to represent the Infinity Stone in Vision's forehead. Unfortunately, it is orange and a little bit of purple. We'll just pretend that it's one of the other Infinity Stones instead. The next Avenger that the MCU and the tour takes us to is Ant-Man, and he's represented by a tiny little Compsognathus. I went with the jungle skin because it's red, so that was a befitting choice. And the exhibit that I designed for him is mostly just meant to be a nod to the start of the movie. When Scott is released from prison, that's where he starts out. He starts out as a criminal and he becomes a hero. Here he comes running. Is he actually gonna leave the prison right now? Is that gonna happen? That'd be very fitting. Let's see where he goes. Is he heading for the exit? He is heading for the exit. There you go. Scott is free. Scott Lang, Ant-Man. He's on his way to become an Avenger. Now we go into the next exhibit, which is Captain America Civil War. I recreated like a little bit of an airport over here because that's the most memorable thing for me, at least. It is the airport fight in Captain America Civil War. Captain America is strolling about right here. There is a new introduction in this exhibit. We have Black Widow. Obviously, she's part of the gang Hawkeye. We have Spider-Man. That's one of the new ones. So we actually have two. This was suggested on my Twitter. I had a bit of a struggle finding the right dinosaur for Spider-Man. Initially, I had the Dilophosaurus for Spider-Man. Only because, you know, the spitting kind of reminded me of web shooting. That was the only connection. But later I realized I needed the Dilophosaurus for another dinosaur. So I had to find a replacement for Spider-Man. I put it on my Twitter, please help, and it was suggested to use the Vivid Deinonychus. Now for me, the Vivid Deinonychus, honestly, it looks purple to me. It really does look purple to me, but people have been telling me that I'm crazy and that it's black with red. So, alright, for me it's purple and red, but if you say it's black and red, then I'll take it. And then that'll represent Spider-Man, who sometimes wears a black and red suit instead of the more common blue and red suit. Now, the other new introduction that I actually had in mind, let's see where he is. Here you go, here is Black Panther. He's lurking in the forest over here. This was a no-brainer to me. Of course, Black Panther with his iconic black and purple suit had to be the Vivid Indoraptor. Immediately when I started building this park, I knew that Black Panther had to be the Vivid Indoraptor. Also just, you know, the way it prowls around, sort of reminiscent of a panther. It is such a tragedy that the actor who plays Black Panther, Chadwick Boseman, has unfortunately passed away. I don't know how they're gonna solve that in the franchise, but Wakanda forever. Here we are in the next exhibit, which I really struggled with in terms of design. I went with the greenhouse just because the dome reminds me of the dome in the building that Doctor Strange resides in the Avengers. I really didn't know what else to do with it. I was kind of uninspired when it comes to this. If you have suggestions on how to improve on this exhibit, please let me know. I will admit I've only seen Doctor Strange once, so maybe I overlooked a better opportunity for good exhibit design. Let me know in the comments. Let's actually find Doctor Strange. There he is. Like I said, I had initially planned to use the Dilophosaurus for Spider-Man, but I ended up changing him to Doctor Strange. I must admit, I forgot about Doctor Strange initially. Like I said, I've only watched it once. And the reason I went with Dilophosaurus for Doctor Strange is because the frill of the Dilophosaurus remind me of his cape, which has a mind of its own, and that's kind of what the frill does. You know, it seems like it just, you know, has a will of its own. That is why I went with just the basic Dilophosaurus to get that red on the frill that is supposed to represent his cape. Now, the tour briefly goes into the center of the park with the big Avengers logo made with Path, and that was just so I could have everything linked up properly. And then we go into the final exhibit, which is by far the biggest exhibit, and this is to represent the two final Avengers movies, Infinity War and Endgame. There are no new introductions in this park, but the gang's all here. Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, Hulk, Black Widow, Hawkeye, Scarlet Witch, Vision, unfortunately his last appearance, oh, I miss him, Spider-Man, Ant-Man, Falcon in his big old aviary up there, Doctor Strange, Black Panther, Star-Lord, Gamora, Drax, Groot, and Rocket. We don't have to see all of them because we already met them. Of course, there's Doctor Strange, there's Hulk. But one that I do want to show. In this exhibit, Groot is represented by the Camarasaurus instead of the Brachiosaurus because, as we all remember, we have teenage Groot in these movies, so he's a little bit smaller, and that's why I chose the Camarasaurus, because it most resembles just a smaller version of the Brachie. The exhibit itself is sort of split into two. When we look at it like this, on the right side we have sort of this desolate wasteland, which is supposed to be Titan, where some of the Avengers fight Thanos and fail, unfortunately. And on the left we have what is supposed to be a little bit of a nod to Wakanda, so it has more of an arid environment, and I used the Innovation Center to represent the capital of Wakanda, where Black Panther lives. Literally because it looks modern. It's called an innovation center, and we all know that the Wakandan people are innovators. They're a very modern society, so that's why I went with that. So that is the Avengers Park in full. I hope that you enjoyed seeing this. I hope that it inspires you to do something like this for yourself. It's actually one of the 10 tips that I've given in one of my previous videos. If you're kind of stuck with what kind of park you want to build, take inspiration from movies. You don't have to go as extreme as I did over here. But I did have a lot of fun building this, and I just had a lot of fun trying to find the right dinosaurs to represent the Avengers. Let me know in a comment down below which of the Avengers is your favorite and which of the movies in the MCU is your favorite. For me, it is Captain America as my favorite Avenger, and it's either Iron Man, the first Iron Man, as my favorite MCU movie, or Captain America Winter Soldier. Both are really great movies in my opinion, and honestly, whenever I rewatch Iron Man, it blows me away how well made it is, how funny it is, how much you care. It is incredible, and it started all of this. It started this amazing franchise. As you can tell, I'm quite a fan of the whole ordeal, and I'm also a big fan of Jurassic World Evolution, so it was a lot of fun for me to combine the two in this park, and yeah, I hope it inspires you to do something like this yourself. If you do like this kind of stuff, don't forget to leave a like on the video and to subscribe to the channel so you can get even more of this sort of nonsense. For now, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, enjoy the game.